Right, that's live. Let me just share that now. Share. Right. Mediumship. Post. Right. Well, that's that shared. Evening, everyone. Hiya, Connie. I'll wait for a few more of you to join before we start. How are you this evening, Connie? Hiya, Penny. Hiya, Stacey. Hope you've all had a good day. Hiya, Lorraine. Hiya, Grace. Hiya, Barbara. So we've got a few of you from the US tonight. Hiya, Elaine. So tonight I've got special guests Mark and Lynda Hughes from Fright Nights. I know you've all heard me talk about Fright Nights. So now you've got the two behind the name. Okay. Hiya, Charlie. Charlie girls online. Right. Hiya, Helen. Someone's calling you Mad Mark. Someone called Helen calling you Mad Mark.
That's about right.
Hiya, Beck B. Hiya, Donna. Give it a minute or so and I'll just let a few more to join before we start properly. Hiya, Ellie May. Hiya, Amy. Hiya, Victoria. Hiya, Pam. Hiya, Grace. You've had a quiet day then, Grace. And Charlene wants to know how Boss Lady's doing.
Boss Lady's doing fine.
Hiya, Ellie May. Hiya, Tracy. There's a few more of you online now. So tonight I am joined by Mark and Lynda Hughes, who are the names behind Fright Nights that you've heard me talk about. Okay? I don't want to say too much because I'd like them to introduce themselves, but I welcome you all for joining us. And I will pass over to Mark and Lynda to say good evening to you all and give a bit about themselves. Okay, so over to you, Mark and Lynda.
Good evening.
Hello, welcome everybody.
Thanks for watching. Much appreciated. As you can guess, my name's Mark and this is Lynda. For any confusion, I'm the one with the beard.
Yeah, I'm Lynda. I'm the straight one. Does all the hard work in the background.
Yeah.
And at the forefront. Lynda does get heavily involved.
Oh yeah.
Fair to herself there.
Yes. Well, yes, I'm Mark. I suppose I don't really know what my role is, to be honest with you. I think I just turn up and they just plonk me wherever I have to go, and I try and I suppose get the energy going, and then take the event from there. Really, I also do the pod every week. Try and keep updates of what's going on, things like that. Yes. So that's sort of us behind Fright Nights, isn't it? Really.
It is. Yeah.
So that's Mark and Lynda. Okay. So what's your involvement? Let me start with what's your involvement in the paranormal now? And then we'll come to how you began in the paranormal. So obviously it's Fright Nights, but tell us a bit about Fright Nights and your involvement in the paranormal now.
Okay. Fright Nights was originally formed back in 1999. So we've been going since the last century. We were the first events company to do events for the general public to go on.
Give me one sec. They're just saying they can't hear you properly, Mark and Lynda.
All right.
If there's any way you could pull the microphone a tiny bit round towards you, they're just saying they can't hear you very well.
I'll speak up a bit as well.
Perfect. I can hear you now properly.
That's
Okay.
the first time you've ever been told.
Yeah, it is. I've
You're
never
not
been
loud
told
enough.
I'm not loud enough.
But thank you for pointing it out.
Yes, so we've been going since the last century. It wasn't Mark and I who started Fright Nights. It was a man called Martin who originally started it. But we joined, oh gosh, about 6 years ago and started to run Fright Nights Berkshire. And when we started Fright Nights Berkshire as a franchise, we were also asked if we would help to run Cambridgeshire, because the lady who ran that was having her own sort of problems. So we said, yeah, okay. And then the next thing we knew, a couple of years later, we were offered the company complete. So we ummed and ahed and thought, oh, means we can go further. And yes, we took over the whole of Fright Nights. And we've been working very hard ever since to get the reputation as high as we can. We like to think we deliver quality events for everybody, educational, but fun as well.
They do that. Their events are some of the best. Even from the first time that me and Marie met Mark and Lynda, and we put them to the test. And I remember where that was.
Warwick Castle.
Warwick Castle.
It was, and that was a very, very good event.
Yeah.
We were very, very, very impressed. I wasn't impressed with walking into the mirrors though.
Yeah, the mirror was there.
So Fright Nights itself, okay. You've obviously grown it since you took over, okay. Yeah. Tell us a bit about Fright Nights. Obviously, it was the oldest and the most original entertainment paranormal company for events. But tell us a little bit more. And I know that you've got sort of two categories, haven't you? General public and VIP. So do you want to tell them a little bit about Fright Nights, a little bit more about Fright Nights and the different ways that you work with it?
With Fright Nights, as I say, we like to think of it more as sort of educational as well, actually showing people what they can and can't do to make contact with the spirit world. It is a company that has franchises. So it started off with South East, Cambridgeshire, London, Warwickshire, and Worcestershire, and West Yorkshire. And we've now built it up and added in North Wales, South Wales, West Midlands, Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, Surrey. So yeah, the company is growing. Doesn't mean we have to go to every event, which is why the franchise is such a good idea. Once people have been to a few events, if they're really interested, we'll check them out and see what sort of history they've had in the paranormal world. And if we think they're going to be a good fit for Fright Nights, then they're welcome aboard the family. We try and have one big meeting every year where all the franchises can attend so that they all get to know each other. We have a private online Facebook group that they can all interact with. Then we also do a VIP club as well, because we've got a lot of people that come back regularly. So by doing a VIP club for just £15 a year, you get 10% off every event that you come to. You get preferential invites to some events. You get a birthday gift voucher. It's just a way to try and keep that loyalty going.
Yes.
But it is like with Fright Nights, a very big family. The events are like a big family. But
yeah.
They're asking if you can talk up a tiny little bit more, which I know normally I can hear you perfectly, but some of them are saying that they can't hear you properly.
All right.
Or it's quiet. Right. So that was VIP. So what areas did you say that you're around at the moment? What areas do you operate from?
Well, we operate from London, Essex, Surrey, Berkshire, South Wales, North Wales, Worcestershire, Warwickshire. We've got the southwest area. We've also got West Midlands. Oh, good grief! Norfolk,
Cambridge, Norfolk.
East and South Yorkshire and West Yorkshire. And Norfolk and Surrey is the new area.
Norfolk and Suffolk.
Norfolk and Suffolk, yeah.
I've just come in.
Cambridgeshire.
Oh yeah, Cambridgeshire, Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire. So it's grown.
It has grown, huge.
Yeah. So we try and do about I don't know, about 100 events a year, something like that.
Yeah, the aim is to do 100 events a year, but that primarily, if you think about it, with all the new franchises that we've got, if they all decide to do 10 a year, you know, you're starting to go well over the 100. And we've actually done 105 in 1 year ourselves.
Yeah, that was the first year we took over. We did, me and Lynda alone, we did 105 events just in that 1 year.
It was a busy year.
We wanted to get the Fright Nights name back in the public eye. We felt the only way we could do it is just by keep doing events, and it seemed to have paid off. So yeah, that seems to have worked.
No matter what area that the events are on, you list them all on the main Fright Nights page, don't you, as well?
Yeah.
Every event is listed on the main frightnights.co.uk, and then the areas that are run by the franchisees or area coordinators have their own website as well, so that if someone just wants to go local, they can just check out what the group is doing locally. But it will all be on the main website, and you can book every event on the main website.
The main website, Facebook website address is scrolling along the bottom of the screen now. So anyone if you wanted to grab a pen or anything, it is on there, and you can add and like. It is the www.facebook.com. I've got to wait for it to scroll back past again.
You should have learned this.
PG. Is that right? Private group, Fright Nights Ghost Hunts. But even if you just go into the search bar and put Fright Nights Ghost Hunts, that page will come up. And just add like, make it one of your favourites, and you'll see all the events come up. I know someone's asking about Scotland. At present, you're not in Scotland, are you? But
No.
working up the country that way, because you've started Wales now.
Scotland.
Yeah. We want to do the Nidri Street Vaults. We're looking at doing that anyway in a couple of years' time, like a weekend, celebrate 25 years of Fright Nights. And we're looking at doing a nice big event around that area. So,
but yeah, I mean, if there's anyone out there that does come from Scotland who's really, really interested in the paranormal and thinks they'd like to run their own group, then we're open to offers.
There you go, Grace. There's an offer for you there, Grace.
Wonderful place, Scotland.
Yeah, love it.
It is. I know where you are now in the paranormal. How did you start in the paranormal in the first place?
There's a question.
You go first.
All right. Well, I've been involved in the paranormal for probably about 30 years. So it gives you an idea of my age.
21.
That's it. I suppose my main forte is actually UFOs and alien abduction and things like that. But I'd love it all. Anything that's a bit unexplainable, and I say I'm there. I suppose I first got into it when I was a kid, when I got interested in the Bermuda Triangle and why things kept disappearing and stuff like that.
Me and Maria have watched loads on that recently.
Oh yeah, it's a fascinating subject, like Flight 19 and the Mary Smith and all that. And that's when I got into it as a kid. I think there was some sort of science fiction drama on at the time, 70s, and I just got interested in this weekly drama and found out that the Bermuda Triangle was real, and I got into it from there. And from then on, I found myself, I was collecting a magazine called The Unexplained, and then buying books on it and spending all my money on stuff that I shouldn't be. I didn't buy porn. I bought magazines on the unknown, the unexplained. It was far more interesting. I got far more out of it as well. And
So then, so was it Lynda that led you across more to the paranormal as we'd know it, paranormal to do with spirits?
I think just over the years we talked about it, and we both realised that we were interested in the paranormal. And once we said we wouldn't do a lot while the children were young, because we've had 3 children. But once they've all left home, we thought, okay, right, we've got a lot more time to ourselves now. And we started to have a look around, see what we could do. And we went to ghost hunts up and down the country, various different groups all the time. We never went with the same one to start with. And then we found a couple that we quite liked and thought, yeah, we'll go with them. And it just literally escalated from there. It took off like crazy.
It's addictive.
Very addictive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, when you capture an EVP, when a spirit is talking to you, it just blows your mind. You know, we've seen so many results over the years that we can't dispute it. My first experience was when I was 8 years old. I'd been staying with my great aunt, and we'd gone over to visit my granddad. As we were going back to her flat, there was a wall. This is in London. There was a low wall around the outside of it, and both of us, my aunt and myself, we stopped dead because we both saw my nan sat on the wall in front of us, but she died a year earlier. And we both stopped at the same time, looked at each other and said, that is Nanny Breen. And as we did so, a car sped round the corner and mounted the pavement. So if we hadn't actually seen her and stopped, we probably wouldn't have been here now. So, you know, I said that's the crisis apparition. She was there for a purpose. She protected us. And it stuck with me all my life. You know, so I did. As a kid, I used to, you know, when you're told not to have the late night telly on, but that's when all the old Hammer House of Horrors and spooky things are on. I used to sit about 2 inches from the telly and with the volume right down so mum and dad couldn't hear it, and watch all those programs. And it's just been there ever since. So say once the kids left home, yeah, we were free.
And jumped 2-footed in, no looking back.
Absolutely.
Because you started a group of your own before you bought Fright Nights, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, the group is still going. It's just we don't get a lot of time to actually do anything with it. We have a group called Marlin Paranormal, and it's 4 of us. It's me, Lynda, our son Freddie, and his fiance Becky. And what we used to do, so we haven't done anything for a little while, is we used to go around, find haunted locations, and do what you normally do when you're on a paranormal investigation. But it's been a bit dormant lately because we've just been too busy with Fright Nights. Yeah. But we do. It's still there. We will. We will. If we go on another event or anywhere without the Fright Nights banner, it will be under our Marlin Paranormal banner. But yeah. So.
That is always good because you can sometimes do a little bit more on those than you can with the general public, where you can jump yourselves fully in.
Don't get me wrong, I love the general public. I love you all. I really do. But sometimes, obviously, there's things we can't do with the general public there. I mean, we can't touch the glass, for example, or we can't sit on table tipping because it could be seen as us pushing it. So when you haven't got the general public and you know it's all us, then obviously it's a better, bigger phenomena. So yes,
no, I'd agree with that. And so sometimes it's nice to be able to do our own events where we've not really got the general public. It's more like friends would be joining us, or people that are sort of well known to us, either from meeting on other events, but it can be sort of tight knit. And often when that happens, we can get an awful lot to happen. Because we can take it a little bit further, where we don't want to sort of provide the fear that newcomers, or virgins as Mark could call it, would be experiencing.
Yeah, this is where the VIP comes in as well, because we've got to know them all over the years, and they are the ones that are very serious about ghost hunting. so we can book events for the VIPs only and know that we don't have to teach anybody. We can just get on with the investigation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shame that one at East Drive actually got cancelled because of the lockdown. You know, you were going to go on that as well, weren't you? Yeah, the East Drive.
Yeah, no, I've been to East Drive. That was
Well,
good place.
We were all going to go.
That one at East Drive, all of us were going to go, weren't we, on that one?
I've just to suggest a new date for that one.
But,
so
I was disappointed they got cancelled for obvious reasons, but because it was the first one we sort of like been on for a while that had been more like an investigation rather than an event. So we'll get there.
Yeah, I might have a couple lined up that you two would be welcome on as well. That I found out about during lockdown. One has a link to Oliver Cromwell.
Oh yes.
all right.
Yes.
Just down the road from Stonehenge.
Oh,
But it's a private location. It used to be a pub.
fine.
I know what you mean, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, one of the viewers has offered her house that she's renovating that used to be a pub to go down, and there's a lot of activity. So, are either of you sensitive to spirit? Obviously, you've seen spirit. You've said, Lynda. Are either of you sensitive to spirit?
I'm sensitive to it in that I have a feeling, but I don't see or hear or communicate with other than through a crystal. I can get good responses with rods and crystals. But Mark's the one that has got more of the medium skills than I have.
Yeah, but I belong to a spirit circle, which is local to where I live. I go there once a month, and also I practice meditation every day, talking to spirit, that sort of thing. And it's something I want to go into a lot more. But I'm a Wicca as well, of course. I do a lot of that. And yeah, I'm hoping to go into it a lot more. But I think it's a confidence thing at the moment.
It's all about trusting, which I know personally. Mark's more sensitive than he probably believes in himself. He picks up an awful lot.
Right.
So Mark is amazing with what he does pick up. So I know that he could do it. He could do it fully and full-heartedly. But it is just the trust.
Yeah.
With it, Mark's very, very sensitive. He picked up amazing stuff. He really does.
Right. During the lockdown, we've done a couple of bits at home here, and it was on fire.
You've been told off.
No. Marie was just adding. It's a lot harder to do paranormal mediumship, and it is mediumship for individuals. And I would agree with that wholeheartedly, because you've got to bring a lot more psychic ability into it, which is reading the energies from a building or from the energies that are around, as well as the spirit communication. And often on paranormal events as well, some spirits don't want to communicate. Sometimes you need to get that and through a guide or another spirit in order to get the information. Because if they're linked to a property and it's for a negative reason, that they've killed someone or something like that, they may not want to talk. But you can know that the energy's about. You might even sense where they're stood. They're not giving you anything. So it's a lot harder to get it than when you're doing a private reading and spirit stands forward and they're wanting to communicate straight with a loved one. So it's very, very much different working in the paranormal with medium skills as it is privately doing one-to-ones. It's much harder doing the paranormal because you don't know what's going to be communicated. You've got to try and work around the spirits that don't want to communicate in order to get that communication, even if it's using others. So that's one reason why I know Mark would make a fantastic medium, because he has the ability in the paranormal to pick up a lot of information anyway.
Yeah, I will get there.
I mean, it's what we find that because we go back to the same venue several times, obviously, we find a good location. We like to take as many members of the public as we can. But the spirits at the locations get to know us. And they can be very cheeky sometimes, some of the comments and feedback that we get. You know, I've asked the medium, can you get a name for us when I've got all the people stood round me? And the medium comes back and says, the spirit tells me you know who it is, Lynda, don't be daft.
Yeah.
That a few times, yes. Yeah.
You know, so But yeah, no, that the spirits do start to recognise you. It's all their
Equipment.
friends.
Equipment. Okay. Before I ask you your favourite equipment, I know there's a story that you do tell occasionally with regard to milk. Okay, and my viewers know all about spirit boxes very, very well. So do you want to just recap about the milk?
Yeah. Can everyone still hear us all right? Presumably.
Yes, I believe I've had no comments with regard to not hearing.
Because we shout at the top of our voices here.
You've made a few jump.
So before we go to an event, obviously I open up the kit box and I check through all the pieces of kit to see if anything needs charging or not charging. And I was sat there one day going through the case and I opened up the Ovilus 5 that we've got. I'm not a great lover of the Ovilus 5 because I don't think the touch screen is very good. It's very tricky. But I literally flicked the switch on to see how full the battery was. And at that moment, Mark walked into the room and stood there scratching his head and said, do you know, I'm sure I've forgotten something. And the Ovilus went, milk. And the word came up on the screen. I went, milk. And he went, oh yeah. So we went over the road to get the milk and then came back and thought, hold on a minute. That was a spirit just told me I'd forgotten the milk.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. And since we've done a few little investigations here, and we do have 2 or 3 spirits within this house. Yeah, and they do help us. You know, they're great.
No, that is right. They do want to help because they enjoy the investigations as much as you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because of spirit viewers that sort of online spirit, unless you want loved ones to communicate with you, won't necessarily jump in because they don't want to frighten you. But if you're going somewhere like an event like that, your spirits will come around. They know that you're wanting to see and to believe, and spirit will work very, very hard to prove themselves as long as you're ready to see. They're not going to jump in and just try and sort of frighten you, which most people, if you're skeptical, they're not likely to go and show themselves or interfere with things because they don't want to make you jump. If you're asking them to do something, they are likely to do it for you. So if you're going to a paranormal event, that's when your spirits are likely to step closer and you're more likely to know about them being near because you're going and showing an interest in something along those lines. Likewise, if you're watching YouTube or some TV programs to do with paranormal, that's more likely when your lights are likely to play up or something like that because you've got an interest at that moment in the paranormal, so they will do more to show themselves or let you know that they're around.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of the viewers here, I've got them used to necrophonics, is one that they've downloaded a lot, and some people have been using it with their loved ones coming through.
You got to watch some of these apps. Some of these apps are rubbish. They really are. But there's about 3 or 4 that we really like and that we do use. But, yeah.
What is the word app that you recommend?
Say again, sorry, mate.
What is the word app that you recommend that comes up with the words for the ones that don't want to hear the voices?
Yeah, it's called Ghost Hunting Tools. And it just sort of ticks away in the background. But it's like a poor man's Ovilus. And to be honest, we've actually had some better results with the phone app where 3 or 4 people in a circle have had the app on and a sentence comes out rather than just the Ovilus itself.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
The other night with Tanya and Charlie, that you know very well as well. Yeah. Tanya and Charlie, the Ovilus hung and logged me out of my live, literally ended the broadcast. Didn't just close the computer, it ended the broadcast. When we put that on them, so we gave up on Ovilus and went back to Spirit Box.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it. Love it.
You know,
what's your favourite equipment?
I do like the SLS camera, I have to say.
I love the SLS as well. The SLS is the one that produces stick men It uses the energy to map humans like us as well as spirits in. If the spirit is showing themselves in human form, he puts a stick man up on the screen. That's the SLS. I know a few of you will have seen that because I've used that at home to demonstrate it as well during the lockdown. The SLS is brilliant. If on location, I'm like, there's a spirit up there, even on the ceiling. The SLS camera, you can point it up and it proves what we're saying as mediums. And I know I work in a different way to a lot of mediums, but I love that for being able to clarify what I'm giving. It then gives you kind of two forms of showing that spirits are there. The SLS is wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, with
so if that's your favourite, what's Mark's favourite?
Me. My favourite piece of equipment is me. Yeah, I trust. I mean, I think if you're going to be a medium, when you know yourself, Gavin, you've got to have trust in your own instincts, and I put that above any equipment or anything. I know there'll be people out there disagree with me, but that's just my personal preference.
I'd agree with you 100%.
Say again, sorry.
100%. If you can use your own instincts, you can use equipment to back up what your instincts have told you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, equipment is good, as you say, for to back up your own instincts, and it's also good when you are doing an event, because sometimes a medium can sit and rattle off 100 names, and because some guests say, "Well, I don't see anybody, I can't see anything," but when you've got an SLS or something like that, it's positive. It proves proof positive. It's there, so guests can go, "Wow," you know. Yeah.
Or as a medium, you say something, and then it's clarified moments later on the spirit box.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that my favourite piece of equipment is me. You know.
Look what I've got you two. Not the electronic version, but that's everyone's called an Eggly wheel, which you can use your own energy in order to make it move. Basically, I and Lynda have one that I'm in love with, so we picked up one ourselves. So you can basically use, some people could call it telekinesis, but basically energy is the same as like healing energy in order to direct the wheel and make it spin. Okay, yeah. I love it. But
you can't actually get the one that we've got at the moment. What you've got is just the basic wheel, but the one we have for our events has got a series of lights in front of it, so you can hear it ticking round and you see how high the lights go from red to green, which gives you a percentage of your energy, and guests really enjoy having a go at that.
So do the mediums.
Yeah. Well, it was designed for mediums. That's what it was for.
I mean, sometimes we get some guests, you can get the most skeptical guest who will come along and they'll set up the Eggly wheel, and I say to them, okay, just ask it to go, and it whizzes around like crazy, and they don't realise they've actually got that gift. They've actually got their own energy to make it move. You know, we're all different. So
yeah, no, that's one of my favourite bits of equipment, not for necessarily paranormal wise, but just using it. So we had to get our own. Yeah, they're not that cheap. They're very fine bits of plastic, but the wheel, you can focus your energy. They say that you've got to use your hands to make it move, but personally you can use your mind as well. I don't need to put my hands out at all. I can change direction of the Eggly wheel with my just literally with my mind and focusing, which is where I would say telekinesis can come into it. The spirit can use them as well, so they can make them turn. You could ask a spirit to move it one direction, ask a spirit to move the other, but you have to remember not to be focusing on it yourself when that's happening, because otherwise it could be you that's moving that wheel. But they're fantastic.
They're useful just to put on a mantelpiece or on top of a cupboard somewhere in the room, because the one we've got, as I say, has got the audible sound, so you can hear when the spirit's playing with it.
All of a sudden it goes off.
Yeah, you're just trying to make us jealous now that we've not got the electronic one.
You'll have fun with that.
Yeah, no, it's great fun.
But the REM pod, I've seen that you've had fantastic results, especially you, Lynda, with the REM pod.
Yes.
The temperature dropping and it sounding out. Warwick Castle was one place where that was the first time I really experienced a REM pod when I first met you. And that REM pod was amazing. It was working to command, step back, step forward, step back, step forward, drop the temperature. So tell us a bit about the REM pod, because they work obviously in multiple ways.
They do. Well, the REM pod is really a proximity device. You switch it on, just sits there doing nothing, put the aerial up on it, and you might hear it start beeping. Everybody thinks it's Morse code, which it isn't. Don't try and record it. But it is a proximity center, and the spirits can make the energy around it, because we've got one that's got the temperature connection in it. It can make the temperature go up or down by 5 degrees, which alarms, and so it beeps and then goes into a continuous whine. Then failing that, any spirit can go near the aerial, and the closer they get, the lights on the REM pod will go off. There's, I can't remember the colours, red, green, blue, yellow, something like that going round. But I've had very good results where I've said, can you make the green light go on? Okay, now make the blue light go on. And they do on command.
Like an advanced version of the K2 meter that a lot of you have seen me use as well.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, the K2 meter, it's pretty much the same thing, just a different way of doing it. And I think the whole point of the equipment is so the public can see the reactions that they get from it. You know, and that is all about all the skeptics. If they can see something for themselves,
I come from one event really where we've had a skeptic arrive that's then left at least not sitting on the fence.
We've convinced quite a lot of skeptics over the years. We have, which is great. I've moved over a few spirits over the years when we've had some that have really affected the public because they don't want to be there, that are so upset. They want to go, so we've moved them on. And the public are very, very sort of, amazed by that, I suppose, when they see it and notice the difference, because the whole atmosphere of the room changes.
Especially with his children that are stuck. That's where I struggle the most. I've got to. I can't refuse but help a child spirit if they're in that position.
We have to stop ourselves and say, we can't move all the spirits on, because if we do, we won't have any for the general public to see next time we come back. So we do have a selection of spirits. Some that are more than happy to stay where they are and come back and visit us time after time. And then occasionally you'll get the odd one that comes through. We had a little girl at the Ram Inn that she just wanted to go. So we moved her on. And we had an old man, oh gosh, Tettenhall Towers. They left open the wrong part of the cellar, apparently, that had never been investigated before. We went down there. We had a fantastic Ouija board session. And then I got some really good results with the crystal and the K2 meter. And the spirit just wanted to go. So we moved him on. And you felt the rush as he left. And then the silence. As that part of the cellar it was really, you can't explain it. When that happens.
I know exactly what you mean. Certain times I can think of St Neots. There's the location in St Neots in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
It's a little museum,
where we were getting good communication from the children and the females there, and all of a sudden there was like a more negative spirit. Tried to step them to the back and help them at the back so the others could still communicate. And the energy that the guests then experienced is so much different. They were getting pure communication, but it's like they try and hold it up because they don't want their truth or their story coming out. Often, so if you can step one back, the energy, the difference of the energy is just amazing for guests to experience. So,
I mean, all the places that we go to are inhabited by spirits, I suppose, for want of a better word. But as with everything, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If the spirit doesn't want to do anything, it won't. You can't make it. But I think, you know, we've worked with them now for long enough to be able to encourage them to come forward. And as you said, things like with the REM pod, when I'm demonstrating the kit, they actually come in and help demonstrate it as well.
The SLS every time.
Yeah.
Every time with the SLS, if I were demonstrating that, ask for a spirit to arrive, they come and normally sit on your seat, Lynda.
Yeah. I find when I put the SLS on, I'm just the way I do it, it's nearly always pointing to the ceiling, and you realise they've been up there all evening watching you.
Yes.
Which is great fun.
No, it is.
But then again, with the SLS, you can actually approach the spirit and ask them to let people touch them. And we get the guests to interact with it. And it's just fantastic. You know, they go away totally amazed.
Anderson Funeral Parlour was one where that with the guests, with them interacting, that was wonderful with you, Lynda, there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's been so many. I mean, I couldn't.
The spirits were just on form. You could point to a person and say, please go and touch them. Even skeptics were like, whoa. They could feel it. The spirit was that strong, which was amazing. I know we've spoken a little bit about equipment, and Mark talked about himself being his favourite bit of equipment, which a lot of them online have also agreed with. But the old school investigation, methods compared to the modern and new technology methods, what are your views on that? A combination of the both, or you prefer one to the other, or which would you typically lead with, Lynda? Would it be yourself followed by backing it up with technology? So what's your view on the old school methods compared to the new school, like new technology?
I love the old school methods, but from a public point of view, the equipment is more visible. Sorry,
the
dogs are coming in. Yeah, I find, as I say, the old school is fantastic, but if you've got 30 guests in a room, you say, right, we're going to sit here and see what we can get, and you sit there in silence and you just wait for a knock or a bang or a flash, they soon get bored, which is why on the events we do have to run it differently so that they get to experience everything, and then they can take away from it what they want.
For spirit to use, do a loud enough. If you're sensitive to it, the bangs that we ask for are more like a tap. So unless someone's sensitive to it, the amount of energy that's needed to do a full-on bang is an awful lot by spirit. And people don't understand, to raise the energy enough to do that, you've got to have given them some energy by laughter, by noise, by whatever means, to raise the energy enough for them to do loud enough for most people to accept it. So it's far easier for them.
One thing I try and do on the events is when I'm hosting, it's trying to create an atmosphere, a good atmosphere. Try and make people laugh, just by me being stupid. But if it gets a laugh, then it's more positive and you tend to get better results. And also it breaks the ice as well, because a lot of people tend to get to know each other in a happy environment. You know, so the groups are a lot better. The event itself can go on a lot better as well, you know. So yeah.
All it really needs, table tipping, for instance. You've got the one skeptic that approaches the table, and the whole table stop working.
Yeah.
He's already believing this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. If you're in that belief, his energy on that table's such a negative earth energy, it'll stop the table working for everyone else. So occasionally we do have to say, sorry, sir, would you please step back from the table? The next minute the table will start going. Very much to do with the energy that you give out.
Yeah, most hardened skeptics, they've actually said, look, I'll sit this one out. I don't want to ruin it for other people. Fair play to them. They've come along. They've just come along because they've been dragged along, but they're doing what they feel is right. And I think they're probably better to do that rather than say, come on and do something. You know? So
I've seen it on the other end of that. Come on, do something. And something's moved by itself in its entirety towards them, and then they feel threatened and often run out of the place and don't come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the equipment. So where's your best location? What's your favourite location? Not for activity, but your favourite location.
Well, I suppose my favourite location is probably Peterborough Museum. We've been there several times. I love Peterborough Museum, and it's probably the only location where I can honestly say, hand on heart, I did actually get a little bit scared one time. And I don't scare easy. I've been doing this too long. But I was in, the event was going really well, actually. It's a couple of years ago now. And what I tend to do when everybody's winding down and what have you, about 2, 3 in the morning, I tend to go around to all the locations and collect any empty glasses or bits and pieces that people have left. Now, there's a room up in the, they're called the Napoleon Room. Oh, you've been there yourself, haven't you? If I
Yes, but I've had a similar experience there collecting the equipment up last time I went with Marie. We tried to compare some evidence that we'd got, and the energy was completely different. But I don't scare easily.
Same here. Now, I've been in that Napoleon Room, I don't know, 50, 60 times. You know, we're doing the events and getting the atmosphere going and everything. And normally I do the table tipping in that particular area. It's just a nice, different place to go. And I went in there, and there was there was glasses, the table was there, a few other bits and pieces. What I normally do, I'm quite happy to put everything away while I'm in the Napoleon Room. But I went in there, and it was icy cold, really cold. And I'd never felt that before. And I thought, oh, it's a bit chilly in here, you know, my own sort of humour trying to keep me from being scared. Anyway, as I started to put everything away, I felt this like, I'm not doing it again. That's the impression done. And I thought, no, this is not right. Now, normally I probably would have stayed in there and not worried about it, but this just felt wrong. So I literally put everything on the table and I went out into the corridor and put it away out there. A hero. That's the only time I don't think I've done an event there since, but not because of that, because I've just I've not come up on the rota, as it were. But that's the only time I can honestly say I actually got quite scared, and that was in the Napoleon Room, the Peterborough Museum. And I love Peterborough Museum. I'll do an event there tomorrow if I could, you know. And I want to go back in that Napoleon Room because I want to find out I want a better idea of what I was dealing with last time. So yeah, but that's my favourite place, and that's the only place I actually got scared.
I can 100% agree with you there, Mark. The last time we were there, we collected some equipment up. But when we went back up, the equipment had all moved. Some was under the seat, some was on top. Everything had moved around when we collected it up. And it was in the Napoleon. Marie was with me, and the temperature had dropped.
Yeah.
I was being probably a little bit more sensitive than Marie. I was like, come on, we've got to go. I know we're trying to bear evidence. Come on. Time to get out of there. The whole night, while the guests had the free time, I'd put my phone on a tripod and I had the button to take photos. I'd already had on the Ovilus, on the phone apps, everything. Stop taking photos. Stop tricking. Well, every time I heard that, I pressed the button. So I'd got great evidence on the camera.
I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, have a look at that one.
But I needed to get out of there. It didn't matter whether the lights were on or off. But that's one other location of the only place I've ever experienced dinosaurs talking to me.
Right.
You cannot get anything from other than dinosaurs where the dinosaur bones are.
Well, they've got an energy there, haven't they?
They have. But no, we did experience that. And the guard, when we left, there were lights still on. He refused to go upstairs because the amount of orbs when we left last time with Rob, he said he wouldn't go up there to turn the lights off because the amount of orbs he'd seen on the CCTV, he was like, the lights can stay on. The guard can do that tomorrow. He was not going to go up there to turn the lights off.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there was this. Yeah.
It was like 3:30, 3:40 in the morning, and it's just like it turned.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're normally the last ones out of the building with whoever's curating that night, because we won't leave them there on their own. We always stay with them, let them lock up.
The only other place I recall you, Mark, where I'd said you were a little bit dubious about going to collect the equipment back was Anderson Funeral Parlour. You left 3 times, came back and was like, anyone want to come and collect the equipment with me?
I was probably joking. I tend to say that for the guest's sake, honest.
They'd all gone. It was only us and Ralph.
Oh, right. Oh,
That
okay.
was another place, a bit like Peterborough Museum. When I came with you and we got the equipment back, it was like, let's get this equipment as quick as we can and back out.
Yeah, that's right.
That was one that I experienced. It completely turned.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So there are some strange places out there. You know, it sort of teaches you not to take them too much for granted. I mean, we go to all these places, we do all these things, and they're spectacular and they're fantastic. You know, but I think when I went did that one in Peterborough, one thing it did say to me was we shouldn't take this too much for granted. You know, we should be careful because it's very easy just to wander into some of these places and not know what you're going to bump into. That's one thing I did walk out of there, you know, thinking, you know, well, we should be careful.
Yeah. I know some of them have asked online. Yes, when we leave locations, we're very much closed down. We make sure the guests are absolutely fine when they're leaving. They've got no problems. When we leave,
yeah,
I know that I always ask. I've got beliefs of my own rather than following a certain pattern of beliefs. I do believe in angels. Archangel Michael's always on my side. He's one that, please come and cleanse. Even if the guests aren't aware that I'm doing that, before they even leave, it's like the light over everyone, boom, they're gone. So yes, there's a very much grace, a close down after events whether the guests realise that or not.
Yeah, yeah. It shows respect as well.
I always say thank you to the spirits as well.
Yeah, so do I. When I'm going around clearing up, I tend to say thank you, spirits, and all the
That's often where the energy can turn. But I'm like, what have I just done that for? But it's the right to do it.
Yeah.
So that's your best location. Okay, what's your best location, Lynda? What's your favourite location?
I love them all. This is the problem. I can't say there's any one particular one that is my favourite. I like Peterborough Museum. That's where we had a guest capture a thermal imaging picture of a profile of a pregnant young lady, which, you know, amazing. And we've seen photos from so many different locations that you can't dispute, you know, we think, yeah, this is it here. I think one of the most recent places we went to that I had to think twice afterwards was actually the ancient Ram Inn. I'd got there early, got a cup of tea and sorted myself out. And then I had to go and unlock the gates to let the guests in. I walked across the car park and there were 3 people stood outside the gate, a bloke in the middle and a girl either side. And I thought, oh, they must have parked around the corner. So I got to the gate and my words were, I'm going to need a strong chap here to help me lift these gates. And both the girls looked at me and said, there's only us here. And the bloke had disappeared. And I swear there were 3 people stood outside that gate when I walked across. And then I've later found out that there was a workman at the Ram Inn at some point who was doing part of the roof repair, who fell and lost his life at the gate entrance. And that to me, you know, yeah, that was interesting. So I do like the Ram. A lot of people say it's lost some of its atmosphere, but I don't think it has. It's just changed.
It has changed, but it's not.
Depends on who's investigating at the time and how much energy you can get around. You and Mark can manifest things happening just because of your energy as well. You're humorous. You create an atmosphere.
Yeah.
To get that activity.
Yeah, but
because I know that you always say you can't slip a spirit a fiver in order to get activity, or Mark does. But in my opinion, no matter, as long as you can feed them the energy, there's not one place I've turned up where I've not had activity. Whether that's in the middle of a field, camping, if I want some activity, I can call spirits close from around that area and it just happens.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
Negative energy can stop it happening.
Yes. Yeah.
If we split groups up on investigation, you can have one group that's got more skeptics in it that really are not believing anything's going to happen. When they come back down or they switch over, something doesn't happen. And that's often due to the energy of guests. The more you want something to happen, the more you believe, the more energy that you can give out to spirit, the more they'll do.
We see that so many times because we average about 30 guests on most of our events. We don't want to go any bigger because, you know, we split them down then into 3 groups of 10, and I think that's more than enough people all sort of vying for the attention of the spirits. But you can get one group that everything happens to, the glass, the table, the rods, the equipment, lights flashing and noises and touching, human pendulum. And then you'll get another group and zilch, absolutely nothing. So yeah, we try and explain this to the guests to say, you will get out of tonight what you put into it. You have to bring some energy for the spirits to interact with. But as I say, when you get them and they just cross their arms and
yeah, that's the word.
That's it, you know. I mean, we've even had a glass moving on the table, not fast, but it was definitely moving. And then one woman turned to her friend next to her and said, "Oh, you've had your hair done. Where did you get that done?" The glass stopped.
The whole atmosphere changed.
That was it.
Spirit realised they're not interested.
Yeah, if they're not interested, why should I waste my time?
And then her group for the rest of the night hardly had anything happen.
Yeah.
I know you'd spoken about equipment. Personally, my favourite equipment, which is open to anyone that turns up on an event, is your mobile phone. 1, you can put spiritbox apps on there. 2, you can take photos with the flash, okay, which gives so much proof, so then you're getting evidence yourself. 3, you can do a video recording. You might not capture a lot on the video, but you play it back afterwards. If you are asking questions out, you can get so many responses as EVPs that isn't from a human voice.
Yeah.
Okay. My personal favourite bit of equipment that anyone can use is not absolute evidence, but it's, you know yourself when you're using your phone, what's coming up. But a phone, I've probably got 10,000 photos on my phone of spirit now that I've collated and built up. My phone is key. Okay. Maria probably be the same there as well. The phone is key to finding evidence.
Yeah, when I do my equipment talk, I always start with, you've all got paranormal equipment with you, your mobile phone. You know, as I say, you've got your camera, your voice recorders, your torches, it's all there for you. And download some apps and that's it. You know, 9 times out of 10, they do download the apps. And we say, no responsibility to what your partner says when you get home.
One new app you've really got to try, you two, though, is Deadwave. What if you download it to your phone? Deadwave is amazing.
All right.
And Spirit have been asking me to use Deadwave recently.
Oh, okay.
Lynda, Mark had said about he'd been scared Peterborough Museum. Have you ever been scared? Or what's your most frightening experience?
I can't say that I've ever been scared. I'm more fascinated.
Or uncomfortable.
Because I have mobility problems. I'm normally the one that stays behind in a room while the group go off to the next area, and then the other group are brought back to me. And they all walk in and they say, "Are you here on your own? Aren't you scared?" And no, I'm not. I just feel very comfortable with it. You know, and I've had interactions while everyone's been away. I've communicated with them and they respond through the apps and, you know, the Ovilus and the K2s flashing. And one thing that everybody does seem to like these days as well is the cat balls. And when you get them flashing on command, that's interesting as well. But no, I can't say I've ever really been scared.
You had an experience at all where you've had to leave a room because of the energy that's put onto you?
Yes, that has happened to me once. No, up at Castleton, where we went on the course with Martin.
Where was that?
It's a youth hostel. Castleton,
Should be
somewhere,
Castleton,
Peak
yeah.
District.
Okay.
We were up there for 2 nights and doing a medium course during the day. And when we went into one of the rooms that night, I couldn't stay in there. And it's never happened to me before. I was only in there for about, 3 minutes. And I said, no, I've got to get out. And then when we went back to that room, it happened again. And then the third time we went there, I was fine. But that's the only time I've ever actually had to leave a place, because whatever it was, the feeling that the spirit gave me was horrible.
The only time I've really had that was was an event of yours as well at the old workhouse, where in the shop area.
Preston Hall, yeah.
Preston Hall and the workhouse. It was like I had to leave there, otherwise I was going to be sick.
Yeah.
It was like the spirits didn't want me in there, which is why they were doing that to me. They just didn't want me in there. I thought it wasn't like I needed to leave. It was more like I was going to be sick.
Yes.
I could smell the history and more death, I think it was at that point. It had multiple uses in that room. But that was one place that I just had to leave just because of the energy that I was picking up.
I've had lots of emotions. I quite often find myself very tearful for no reason, or you start laughing and you can't stop laughing. But once you've gone out of that area, I find I'm fine again. But some of the stories that you hear from the spirits, they are so moving, and they really can affect you.
Oh, they really can. Has sometimes where although they could tell me a story myself as a medium, it's like I don't just want to give it across the story that I'm receiving directly. I'll often beg the spirits to give their story, what they've just told me, through a spirit box, something like that, so they're hearing it more from the horse's mouth than me just going, because anything could be said. Especially if there's a skeptic around, I can give part information, and it's like, go on, now elaborate on the spirit box. And they always help me out. They always do. They always do. So what's your best activity, both of you, and the best proof that you've ever captured? Best activity you've seen and the best proof that you've captured?
I think
obviously you've already mentioned one with the pregnant lady at Peterborough Museum on the infrared camera.
Piece of kit.
Yeah.
Social hall.
We did we do a place called the Social Hall, which is in a village called Englefield Green outside Berkshire, and it's a little ghost gem, really. It's not in any of the history books. In fact, there's very little history that's known about it. We do know it's been there a few hundred years, and it's just used as a social hall for the village. But we used to use it years ago when we used to do amateur dramatics. And we've done a few events there now, and every single event we've done has always been really good. And there was one particular night we had the perfect guests. You know, they were all like just leaving puberty or just hitting it. You know, they were all just perfect in every way. They're all young ladies, weren't they? Yeah. And they were all really raring to go, wanting to sort of witness something. And literally from start till about 2 o'clock in the morning, it was non-stop. It was one of the most incredible nights. I mean, a few of them were newbies. They'd never done it before. And I actually said, look, you've been spoiled, because sometimes you can go to these places and you might get 2 or 3 things happening in 6 or 7 hours. This was literally one thing. Even when I was doing at the end of trying to do the summary, we actually had voices come out of one of the corridors, because we thought, oh, there must be somebody in there.
That's right. We thought a guest was still outside.
In there. And when somebody went open the door down the corridor, there was nobody there. I thought, bloody hell. It literally was. We had flashes, we had screams, growls, scratches, people fainting.
Coat hangers thrown, hats thrown.
You know, like you watch one of these documentary things, and they put everything together, like 60 hours worth into 45 minutes. Well, this is literally like that. It's literally like someone taking 6,000 hours of footage of this place and put it all into 6 hours. we just didn't get a chance for a break. It was one of those weirdest nights I've ever spent. It was perfect night of paranormal activity, and we never saw any of the guests again.
Yes, we have. He's fibbing.
No, we have.
Yeah,
But
no,
it
was amazing. Absolutely
incredible.
amazing.
I mean, there's a thing they call it paranormal hangover, and we know it's a thing because when we've done events like this, the next morning we wake up, we feel dreadful because the spirits will sap all our energy. Now, we like to think we're veterans at this, but even us the next day walked around like zombies. You know, God knows what the guests must have been like.
That was like me with Taliston House.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Slept there. I must have slept 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes all night. 5 minutes sleep, 5 minutes awake. As the dreams kept coming in of this item, that item, the other item. I barely slept.
Yeah, well, one of our other mediums, Angela, she had exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
When she slept there. It was
Just item after item, from the Zulu warriors to Canadian cabins to just one after another for the whole night. The next day I was like a zombie, and I still had another event the next day, if I remember rightly. So I still had to go carry on in the evening.
We went on to another event. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I've never felt an energy like that as Taliston House. Which actually, that's another question I was going to ask you about in a minute. But so that's your best activity and best proofs. But now, often the little gems are the ones that most can happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one not far from me that's actually an operating business over in Kettering, and the activity there is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the bangs, when you ask for bangs, it's like loud echoing on the roof and things like that. And it's not somewhere that's open to the public. But others as well. One of the first that we went to with a private group that we're involved with, the Spook Spies, was a full apparition. We've had a full apparition a couple of times. But coming back from there, it wasn't in the house. I was clearing out the camper van, looked out the window, and I saw the same figure from the night before, walked by, and it was as if like solid form. And I knew to myself it wasn't human, but it was full apparition. And I guess one of the only other times I've been frightened is Poltergeist House. Not frightened, but fearful to the energy. The Poltergeist House over, it's on the way towards Anderson Funeral Parlour. Rotherham. There, the camper van, we've got leisure batteries. It drained in half an hour 4 or 5 times. So I could restart the engine to get the battery back up to full power. 4 or 5 times it drained dead, so that I couldn't even go in and turn the lights on inside. It was like, excuse the language here, but I can't word it any other way. Shit, it's taken some energy. That was hundreds of volts it had taken, and we were getting all sorts happening there.
It was that night.
Away.
Yeah, you go into the kitchen where the plug sockets are, and literally had 5-minute break, went in the kitchen, and there's equipment plugged in all along the work surface where they were all trying to recharge their batteries.
It was after the first session. It was
because they were all drained.
I always ask them to take your battery power on events and leave mine alone.
Yeah.
It always works. Is there anywhere you'd still like to go that you've never visited?
Yeah, loads of places.
Yeah.
Oh,
you name it, anywhere.
Is the one place that really stands out that you really want to visit?
Yeah, there is, but it's probably more for UFO reasons than spiritual reasons.
Mentioning UFOs, have you ever come across an extraterrestrial in the form of spirit?
No,
I have.
You have you? Yeah, it's a very complex subject actually, but yeah, you get a lot of people who have had who've suffered, or they call them experiences, and they witness, as you say, a spirit in the shape of a grey or something like that.
It was a big grey and a big white. I had.
Right, yeah.
In the same location.
Oh, right. What was the location, out of curiosity?
Brendan Hall in Northamptonshire.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That's one of my best apparition photos as well. I've got the only way to describe it, really, like a dwarf with wings flying in the sky. I took a photo because I knew I needed to above, because I could I knew something in my third eye was there. Took the photo, and there's like a little dwarf goblin flying in the sky with wings. But there we had a bunk bed that 6 of us couldn't move the bunk bed by itself. That the bunk bed was moving by table tipping methods.
All right.
They've sold it now, and I don't know whether it's going to be able to be investigated again. But that was
right.
white was friendly, the grey wasn't.
The grey wasn't.
So I'm trying to remember the right way round. One was basically, let me correct that. One wasn't friendly, one was.
The grey would have been friendly. They reckon the greys are like the workhorses.
Okay, the grey was friendly, the white wasn't. But the white could pretend to be the grey and show himself in the grey form.
Yes, yeah.
And lured me in, and that was one of the times that I got dragged around a room.
Oh, okay. It's all right. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the place that it's something Manor. It's down near, it's in the West Country. But for the life of me, I can't think of what it's called. It has gone. But yeah, there's an abandoned, they call it area Britain's answer to Area 51. And there's an abandoned mansion, and in the back of it is lots of little like grey, what do you call them? Confab buildings.
Up on top of the hill, isn't it? So you can look out down.
But you can actually go underground as well, and there's loads of top secret files still stored up, and they've still got security there. But a lot of people have broken in, and I want to be one of those people to break in and film myself actually in there, you know. But there are a lot of experiments happening there during the Second World War and afterwards as well. And let's face it, it's going to be spirits down there. I think that's a foregone with you. That's one place I would love if I ever got the opportunity to go for UFOs, conspiracies, and spirits. You know, just to sort of see what I could witness and find. That's my personal.
I think
Alcatraz has got to be on my list, which Sharon's just mentioned there. Alcatraz, if I could get across to America to do an investigation, Alcatraz has to be on my list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, would love to do Alcatraz, but also the tombs under Paris.
The what? Sorry.
The
the
tombs
tombs,
under
yeah.
Paris.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing them.
And Tanya will break in with you, Mark.
Yeah.
But she says your best equipment for ghost hunting is your hat.
I'll actually frame the picture of that hat. Oh dear. Okay.
One question that I have been asked there as well is, where did you two first meet?
Doing amateur dramatics.
Yeah, amateur dramatics.
Who was the most dramatic?
Sorry?
Who was the most dramatic?
Oh,
that one, definitely.
I knew that was going to happen.
me?
The pantomime dame.
I used to play a pantomime dame. I'm just waiting for all the comments. Yeah, I played pantomime dame for quite a few years, and then just got bored of it.
I think when all the paranormal reopens, I think the first event you should turn up as a pantomime dame. That'll raise the energy. It'll be a fantastic night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other place I'd like to go, of course, is Windsor Theatre.
Yeah,
Windsor Theatre.
Windsor Theatre Royal in Windsor. I mean, I've been there. Well, you've been there as well.
Yeah.
But I'd love to do an investigation there because that's got some history.
That's got a lot of history.
Really has.
There is a theatre that myself and Maria had been to with a group. I can't name the theatre, but you know, you can get like photos. Some people have seen planes and taken a picture of like a spirit plane or the energy. I captured a spirit of a row of terraced houses in the middle of the auditorium where the street used to run.
All right.
Which was just odd. It was one of the weirdest pictures I've taken. And I showed the people from the theatre. I said the street used to run exactly where you've just taken the picture.
Excellent.
Lights on, chimneys, you name it, all on the photo.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. What was the name of that app you mentioned?
Dead Wave.
Dead Wave.
Dead Wave.
Okay.
You'll really enjoy that, both of you. Taliston House.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the last question on paranormal, and I know it's one place that you told me I wouldn't believe the energy. Do you want to just explain Taliston House, Mark or Lynda?
Look, Taliston House. Well, it is a 3-bed semi in the middle of a housing estate. That's it. But what the chap has done, he's spent, ever since he's had it, developing each room into a complete scenario of its own. He's been to over 200 different countries. He's brought back items from each of the countries that he's visited, and they're on display throughout the building. So the psychometry there is absolutely amazing. But you go into the hallway, which is an Italian favela. The lounge is like a great big manor house castle room. The dining room is an old church. Then you go into a
Pirate boat in between.
Pirate boat in between is the bathroom. They've got a log cabin outside, which is a Canadian log cabin. Then you can come back in through the Japanese room. And when you go upstairs, you've got the American detective agency office, a Spanish room, and a Scottish castle room. Then the attic has been completely gutted and redone. I've never
That was amazing.
up to the attic because
That was amazing.
Boat ladder, I know. But this house is just, it has to be seen to be believed. And we've had so much activity there.
Yeah.
I think Mark enjoyed being pushed and shoved, didn't he, in there?
Yes.
And the kitchen was a hoodoo theme, wasn't it? Which is like the voodoo religion, hoodoo. Which I know I captured on video recording, a hand coming down from the ceiling above Mark's head.
Yeah, I mean, you showed me. I think that's the one you showed me. I know you showed me a couple.
I was trying to steal your hat.
Everybody wants my hat. Oh, yeah. I've just remembered that.
Mark.
Sorry, the name of that mansion is called Rudlow Mansion.
Rudlow.
Yeah.
Writing that down.
Yeah, it's a place I'd like to go into. Anyway, carry on.
Is you'd mentioned other paranormal interests, Mark. You'd mentioned UFOs.
Absolutely.
What are your other paranormal interests? And tell us a bit about UFOs and.
Well, I'm what
have you seen one, for instance, or evidence that you've seen from others?
Well, okay. I'm what they call a ufologist. Okay, basically, I study UFOs, and something like 40,000 UFOs are reported every single year in the States. And out of those, it's only about 5% that are classified as UFOs because nobody knows what they are. And not only that, I read up on UFOs that have been spotted and the damage that they leave behind them. I've also spoken to people who have suffered from and are continuing to be abducted by aliens. He's gone, look. See?
You bored him.
I need to go and get my charger. Do you want to go and get my charger for me?
Where is it?
It's in the bedroom next to the red lead, because that's going to go off any second. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I do. I talk to people who claim to have been abducted by aliens. I also study things like crop circles and various things like that. Oh, he's back now.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. I was trying to hang on.
No,
Did you say, sorry, because I missed that. Did you see any yourself?
I've never seen a UFO, no. Everything I've spotted, it's been accounted for. Somebody knows what it is, or the Royal Air Force can say, yeah, that's one of ours. But some of the readings, I mean, one of my most favourite ones is probably the Rendlesham Forest incident, which happened in 1980. What's interesting about Rendlesham Forest is it was witnessed by Royal Army Corps, American soldiers. And not only did they see it, but they actually went up and touched it and wondered what the hell it was. And the guys that touched this UFO have since been diagnosed with a very strange form of cancer. And nobody knows what the cancer is. They're still alive, but don't know how long for. So yeah, that's my other hobby. I have spoken to people who claim to have been abducted. Most of them suffer from a thing called PTSD, and obviously distress of what they go through. So it's a fascinating subject. It really is fascinating. So
Me and Marie do enjoy the subject.
Yeah.
I have once, which I could definitely say there was like 5 lights in the sky. They were in like a diamond formation.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Traffic lights. Me and the cars around me, no one moved when the lights turned green, because we were all looking up above. It was in Northampton, but it had been seen at that point miles around. It did end up on the like the local news with it, and it was just going into dusk. Looking up, the lights were almost green, but they were bright. They were there. They weren't there. All of a sudden, they were there. When they left, you couldn't even see a trail of light. It was literally boom, gone. But with them all together in a diamond formation. And that was the point we all moved off the lights. We must have missed 2 or 3 light changes on the traffic lights, just no one moved. But it was one of those times when no one was beeping the horns or trying to get you to move. Everyone was looking at the same thing.
Okay. So Lynda's just plugging us in because I'm going to run out of power soon. Because I'm not for this, you see, so the phone's not quite. But yeah, so that's the other thing I'm interested in. I studied crop circles. And I tend to sit on the fence a little bit with crop circles, but I have seen some very strange. We have seen one, and I have witnessed. I have witnessed. There's also a thing what they call ice circles as well, which are basically patterns created. Hang on a sec, she's just plugging you in. There we go. Yeah, which is the same thing as crop circles, but actually patterns drawn into the ice, and nobody knows how they got there. So. Yeah.
Are there any other areas of paranormal that you have an interest in? And by the way, you're being told you're a very clever man.
Oh, really? Who's that?
You are.
He's a mind of useless information.
Useless.
Not useless, because lots of people are finding this fascinating. So it's not useless, Mark. Don't listen to her.
You know, that's right.
Who says I'm a very clever man then? Anybody I know?
Sharon said you were a clever man.
Oh. Thank you, Sharon.
Are there any other paranormal interests other than obviously spirit and UFOs?
Anything unusual, anything weird.
I know unusual. I know that you're very much mindful of knowledge as well to do with unsolved crimes and things like that. Someone's asking about Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm studying criminology at the moment, so.
So Bigfoot. Tanya's asking about Bigfoot.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Bigfoot. There's a lot of people reckon Bigfoot is an alien. Yeah, but then you're going completely on different tangents. That's what a lot of people say Bigfoot is. In fact, there's not just one. There's several Bigfoots. And also, there's another thing paranormal thing I'm interested in, and they call it 411. And 411 is missing people, but people who just disappear without a trace. No evidence.
It's to do with the forest, aren't they? They're forest in America.
That's it.
There are UK cases as well.
That's it. 411. I can't remember the name of the forest. I think it's called the Beddington Triangle, where a guy was on a bus and he disappeared in front of 46 people just traveling through the bus. That is a fascinating subject. It really is.
There's Bermuda Triangle as well that you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
There is another Bermuda Triangle over near China, isn't there, as well, where a lot happens.
That's the Devil's Triangle.
That's it.
Yes, yeah. There's that one over there. There's also a thing called the Tunguska event. Now, Tunguska is fascinating because what Tunguska is a place in northern Russia. And in 1908, there was something landed there that was so bright, so loud, that the northern hemisphere of the planet was in daylight for 3 days. He's gone again.
No, you've just said something that actually makes sense, because that was the first time Moldavite was found. It was just after that event. Only mine shortly after that.
That's it. Yeah.
And Moldavite is a crystal that was formed by heat, or so-called a meteorite, which is what I believe was a meteorite before. But from what Mark's just said, with that year, it was only after that the Moldavite was found.
That's right. Yeah, Tunguska. And it took 100 years. If you see pictures of it now, what it is, you've got like a mile, a circular mile of just grassland. Then after that, all the trees all bend outwards. to about 80 miles. And that is because it took about 80 to 90 years before anybody was allowed to step back in there because the radiation was so high. Nothing grows there apart from grass. Anyway, sorry, I could rattle off these weird and wonderful things all night, but that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, so you're studying criminology, that you'd mentioned that. So you'd mentioned earlier about Wiccan. Some people online won't know what Wiccan is, and I know you are a Wiccan.
Yeah.
You want to give us a basic overview of what Wiccan is and your beliefs to do with Wiccan?
Well, what I am is Wiccan is what's the best way? I suppose a study of nature. Yeah, you use the energies that nature comes out. It's a natural form of being a witch, if you like. And what the traditional Wiccans, of course, used to do is they used to collect herbs and spices, and they used to cure all ills. What I'm known as what they call an eclectic Wicca. Basically, what I do is I'm a loner. I work on my own. I do my own spells. I also do my own studies within Wicca. I also do my own ceremonies within Wicca. I've taken all bits of other people's Wicca, which I find fascinating, and I've made it into my own little religion, if you like, for want of a better word. And I've
your own beliefs to what to do with it.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 2.5 years now, I suppose. Yeah. I always knew I wanted to do something different, something more that would actually give me a bit of a boost of energy, or something natural, instincts again. Use my instincts again, and I went into Wicca. I belong to the pagan, the world pagan. Oh, I should know this. I get slapped in the wrist for not knowing this. It's World Pagan Association as well. So, and I get magazines and books, but that's just the sort of commercial thing, I think, really. But I enjoy what I do, and I love the countryside. And there's nothing better when as soon as I get rid of that stupid lockdown, I can get back out in there again.
You just mentioned pagan there. Do you fully believe in pagan, or do you again adopted your own beliefs?
I believe in pagan. I was a bit of both, I suppose. I've created my own beliefs. I worship my own. What's the word? My own
energies is really what I would put, because I've got my own beliefs. So it's all to do with energies.
Yeah, and what is fascinating is the more you go into it, the easier it is to collect energies from certain plants and trees. The more you appreciate them as well. You know,
it's always good to hug a tree.
Oh, absolutely. It would hug you.
Make sure what's under your feet, because then you can get stung by bees.
Oh yeah. Well, that's your own fault.
Oh, I did. One of my kids put on a bee nest or wasp nest, and I had to replace my foot with his foot so he didn't get stung. I got stung about 32 times around my ankle.
So yeah, basically that's what I do. That's my Wiccan stuff. That's how I do Wiccan.
So you've also adapted, which was very interesting, with what you just said, adapted your own beliefs. So it's like you don't follow the standard Wiccan path. Which again, with me, with mediumship, I've got my own beliefs. They could vary day to day for something else that I learn. So I'm always taking on more and more knowledge. And the more knowledge I take on, the beliefs may vary. So you're sort of the same there with energies on the Wiccan front.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Wiccan, to me, it's maybe I'm being a bit derogatory, but I tend to think of the Wiccan as a sort of a hobby, if you like. Again, maybe that's not really the right word, but to me, a hobby isn't something that should be difficult. So if I'm studying, I get up to a bit and I go, "What the heck is that talking about?" And if I can't get it into my brain, then I'll put it to one side and I'll go on to the next bit. Do you know what I mean? Because it shouldn't be hard.
Or adapt your own beliefs to the situation that you're reading about.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I've done that several times, and I go back and read it and go, "Oh, I get it now." You know, yeah, that's life.
I know. Talking about beliefs, what Mark's talking about with Wiccan there. So he's sort of self-taught Wiccan. Would that be correct? You've sort of taught Wiccan yourself. So me with mediumship, it was more I taught myself. I wasn't guided by anyone on earth. I was purely guided by spirits, and my beliefs are very much different from spiritualist church to probably some other medium's views. I literally accept what spirit tell me or what they show me and the way that I feel. So I use myself as an instrument. Which is a bit like Mark saying with Wiccan, using yourself as an instrument, and you can be open to a lot more. Mark, someone else has asked on here with regard to astral projection.
For what, sorry?
Astral projection.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That is actually a subject, that's my One that I'm studying at the minute is astral projection. It has happened to me, and I've done it. I believe it's very much coincided with remote viewing, that you can use astral projection for remote viewing. And I have studied remote viewing. Astral projection is my next one on my hit list of. I like to constantly learn more. So does Marie. We do a vast range of subjects. So astral projection is my one that I'm doing now currently. But astral projection, I personally believe, is possible, and it's like an out-of-body experience. But Mark, what are your views?
Yeah, I mean, I do lucid dreamings. I do lucid dream. You know,
it's very much the same. That could be a word to describe astral projection.
Yeah,
ultimately, lucid dreaming, you can see yourself, can't you, as well?
You can see yourself. You control everything that's going on around you, and then I've not really studied it that much, so I can't say too much. But you know, I have read that it's like the next stage on from lucid dreaming. I do lucid dream pretty much every night. Once I'm knackered when I get up next morning.
I don't do it every night, but remote viewing, astral projection, I can actually do remote clearances of negative spirits, and I could describe someone's house to them perfectly by doing that. But I'm also placed still in the current moment, so I can be in two places at the same time, which again isn't something that I read about very often, but I know that it's something that I can do. The amount of people that told me what I'm describing, they've got a red door, I'm going in your stairs, you've got a mirror at the bottom of the stairs, pictures up on the wall on the left side diagonally, there's 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. People go, yes. How do you know that? It's like some spirit is in your house at that time, and then I can come away with the negative energies. So it's the beliefs. Whatever you believe, if you can have a strong enough belief in something and be open to things, there's possibilities are endless. Okay, and it's all about belief and trust.
Absolutely, you've got to have an open mind. If you're going to do anything like this, you've got to have an open mind.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think in the lockdown, I took working from home to a new level.
Yes.
I have done in lockdown. I have cleared a few properties remotely. I didn't know was possible, but they needed help, and I wasn't going to travel, and I did it.
We have given your card to a couple of people who told us that they were having a few problems. So
one may have been in your neck of the woods, because I did go down. One of them was on the outside of the M25, over towards Sweden way. I don't know whether that was anything to do with you.
Might have been. Yeah, we have given your card out to a couple of people. We had one couple come and said they had a few problems and what have you, and we gave them your card because it sounded a bit more your thing.
Anyone online, 9 times out of 10, if I get an inquiry to do with energies or something's been making himself known, 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100, it is to do with a loved one making themselves known for you, not a negative energy. It's a very rare instance for it to be a negative energy.
I think people call it negative because they don't understand it.
They do. That's exactly it. They just don't understand. But then I'm saying, well, it's Dad, and he smoked the pipe, and you smell the tobacco as well. It drains the bone. You have the curtain moving and a shadow that steps across. Well, how do you know all of that? Because Dad's telling me. So then, like, okay, it is my dad.
Brilliant.
But it's very, very rare for it to be a negative energy. Don't get me wrong. It can be a negative energy. Which leads me to one last question for you then as well. Mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scrying.
Scrying. Can they be gateways or portals?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't believe that myself personally. But certainly with scrying, a spirit can make itself known to you.
They can do it. Spirit can do an overlay, which the person themselves scrying and witnesses themselves in a mirror. It doesn't need a mirror in order to have an overlay, but there's many forms of scrying that you may just see a spirit in the mirror. But you can have an overlay where the energy merges with your own. So like my face could change to be, I have done this in a reading once where a lady, her only wish was to see her husband. So I did have my paranormal equipment and a red light in the car. I went and got it for the reading. It was a group reading, held the torch up, and her husband's face formed over my own. And I did do that in a reading to bring the loved one through. So that's a form of scrying. And she took photos, and the photos even showed her husband, not my own face. So mirrors can be used for scrying.
Yeah. I mean, I use a crystal ball, and I was always told when you use them that so long as it's a nice clear surface. So I don't know whether that be seen as a form of scrying or what. When I've looked into
it is definitely a form of scrying. I've studied scrying as well. It is a form of scrying. Although I've got to say, I think I can change your beliefs when you come to Haunted Antique Paranormal Research Centre. There is a mirror there that is very much things come out of.
All right. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
And photos with spirit half in, half out. My personal belief is, but everyone's entitled to their own beliefs anyway, everyone that's online. So we're just chatting here in general as I'm talking to them. But my belief is mirrors can be something for the other side. Okay, Mark with his Wiccan, being sort of into the Wiccan and the paranormal in that side. Okay, one of the oldest forms of a mirror would have been putting an oily surface on top of liquid, and that was before man-made mirrors. They used those purely for the purpose of scrying or to bring something through. So therefore, now we've got all these man-made mirrors that are oil-based, which give the reflection. So what would be the difference between someone making a surface like that for something and a mirror to achieve other things? And likewise, a mirror, although it reflects, it also absorbs, in my opinion, and can attract negative energy. So it doesn't mean there's something paranormal, but if it's attracting negative energy from people, it absorbs that negative energy and it can rub off on the one that's looking into it. For instance, hairdressers or beauticians that are constantly holding a mirror up to someone. The only reason I mention hairdressers and beauticians is the customers often talk about their problems. So when they're talking about their problems, they're bringing a negative subject up while they're looking into that mirror. That mirror will absorb that negative energy and then can make people feel down, sad, upset, prior to them walking out of that salon. I would recommend any beautician or hairdresser, the mirror that you put in front of someone, see the final outcome, you swap every 6 months. Never break a mirror or throw it away.
That's a good idea.
It needs to be buried, in my opinion. A bit like a crystal when it's full, it's got to be returned to nature. Although a mirror isn't nature, it's man-made, it's come from natural substances.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. But Mark just mentioned scrying with a crystal ball, and I know this has worked previously before. Let me hold this up. Okay, we have had faces appear in crystal balls previously,
right?
While I've been online.
Okay. Yeah, there's a man in there. A male.
A male at the bottom, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, yes.
He's now turning his face towards us rather than looking side on. There's a big face now at 12 o'clock of a lady. Now it's turned into a boy.
Okay, he's quite an old man. Moustache, glasses.
The bottom one's now gone.
Okay, I still see an old man there.
The old man, turn your face side on now instead of straight ahead, please. Old man, turn your face side on. Yeah, and we want to see it side on, not straight on.
He's done that. He's done it disgruntledly, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, he hasn't done it willingly. He's done it quite sort of. He's done it very much sort of, okay, I suppose I ought to.
Sharon, you should recognise what I'm being told. That's my medium chip coming through, so it's a family member to do with you, Sharon. And I believe it's Sharon number 1.
Okay, has he got bad leg? Bad leg?
Yeah.
Knee injury?
Yes.
Yeah?
Sharon Stewart, yes. Sharon, you see it at 12 o'clock. That should be someone you recognise, Sharon, is what I'm being told.
Yeah, he's got a knee injury or a leg injury or something.
And so I'm going to turn it for 1 second because I'm being asked to. Right. So I don't know what's going to come through now. I'll switch this to a different one in a minute. Mark just talked about a clear one with no imperfections. The man with a hat now appearing at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I can see him. Man with a hat, black hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
a bit
him.
like yours, but with a bigger rim.
I'm going to get a new hat.
Give me 1 second, right.
All right.
I know we were talking about scrying, so I may as well have done this right now. I've just got a clear one. You can obviously just see my head in it at the minute. Let me try and get out of the vision.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
Weird thing is, it's not me at the bottom with that dark shadow.
Right. I see a woman, quite tall, in purple. Long purple coat. Fur, black.
Is that between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can see her. And also, there's a man's face that looks a bit like Frankenstein, slap bang in the middle. And that shouldn't be there because the only thing that's at the other side is a certificate.
Yeah, no, I can't see that. That's probably coming through for you. It's not coming through for me on that one, but I can definitely see the woman. I can see the full figure. Okay, she's got a dog, a little poodle, black poodle.
I can take that, Mark, because that's my dog that I can see now there. He's fit. Which, one second, if anyone can see Mark, let me bring my arm closer.
Oh, yeah.
That's who you just saw.
That's cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's Fitz. So he's a dog to do with me that I just saw on there. Okay. There's a clear, so I'm just giving you examples here. Yeah, I can see a young boy as well. There's another different figure now in the bottom right, and this is purely a clear crystal ball.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing.
That last one, which is just giving you a third example.
That was glass.
That was just glass. That wasn't crystal. That was purely glass. This one is a crystal clear quartz. Right.
Oh, okay. Right. I actually see insects, perhaps locusts, grasshoppers. I can see hundreds of them.
So can I now, as you've said that. That's weird. Never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, I see hundreds of them.
I can now see a lady in a hat as well, but the hat's on diagonally.
It's not my hat, is it? Oh, I can see the hat. But,
she turned her face now to look sideways on, not front on.
Okay.
So the hat's tilting backwards.
Not being eaten by the locusts, is it?
But look, as I turn the ball, the face is staying and showing. Now I can actually see a mouth and two eyes. It's a completely different face.
Is it a black hat or dark purple hat?
Yes.
Yeah.
A ribbon underneath it as well.
Oh my God!
I can see my German Shepherd in the bottom corner, bottom of the glass as well, between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the bottom half.
One.
There's a German Shepherd.
Is it white?
A white. Yes, it'd be like a whitey. But I can see the nose. She's vanished.
Okay, I can see.
Turned into a man's face.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, I can see that.
That's my dad.
The hat's disappeared. Oh God.
My dad's just shown up now.
Is he?
Bottom right between 3 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah, the dog's disappeared and the hat's disappeared.
Do me a favour, spirits. I'd like a spirit that Mark and Lynda would recognise to appear in the ball, please. A spirit that Mark and Lynda would recognise. Straight away, I can see a dog.
No, we've still got ours.
It's like a Jack Russell type dog, is what I could see.
Yeah.
There's a lady in the top, in the right, at literally at 3 o'clock. There's a gentleman at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I can see the gentleman. Oh, right, yeah, the gentleman's. He's wearing a hat again, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, I see him. He sort of stood like posing, you know.
In the middle, there's a spirit now in the middle. A youngish man. I'm told Lynda should recognise him. I'm trying to bring it into focus. It's not very clear, but if I move my hand, it'll be gone. One sec. I'm going to move my hand. Try and bring him back.
Yeah. Well,
Two eyes. 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can see it. I can see it.
It's changed as well. One sec. I'm going to drop it. I don't want to drop it on the keyboard.
No.
Now there's a full face in the middle. So the other eyes have gone.
You've got some eyes have just appeared. Oh my God. It's a cat. A black cat.
Now there's a full face, but it's looking from 9 o'clock towards, 8 o'clock towards 2 o'clock. So it's upside down. He's straightening his face now.
You see it?
Yeah.
There's a black cat in there.
Yeah, I can see the cat.
Well, we just lost that cat.
I am being told Grandad for you, Lynda. It's like, look for Grandad. So I'm going to drop that. Give me 1 sec. Right.
His arm's aching. There's another cat. Just,
I'm guessing you two have never seen this done before online.
not
No,
online, no,
no.
not online.
There's a beautiful lady, dark hair, smile, but she's not smiling too much, just above my finger. I'm getting cramp in my hand now. So let me switch hands, right.
Don't
Last go then, Spirit, go on.
We definitely had a black cat in there. And we lost a black cat a few years ago. You know, when you asked the spirit to show us something we'd recognise,
Yeah.
we both
Yeah.
saw a black cat.
One to the left of the crystal ball, so underneath my finger that you can see, you've got a male's face.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a connection to do with Lynda, is what I'm being told.
Okay.
He's sticking his tongue out at you. He used to like taking you outdoors. Well, clearer for me, though, clearer.
Yes, yeah, I can make down.
Dark hair. Flip, they're taking my energy, though, at the same time.
You shouldn't have so much to give.
No, I can't see it now.
I'm amazed I can't see it either now.
No.
Oh, let me put that down. Right. That wasn't planned either. It was literally just last minute thing to do.
Okay.
Have you got a crystal ball then, Mark?
I have. I've got two.
Quick, let's see whether it works the other way around.
All right. Excuse me. Do talk amongst yourselves, everyone.
Otherwise.
Everyone's enjoying it and saying it's amazing and brilliant, Lynda. So,
Good.
just like I've only done this once before with the crystal ball and shown it was on when I used the SLS at home. Prior to the SLS, I just showed the spirits that were around, which I recognised. Those ones, a lot of them to the end, I didn't recognise. You'd see the black cat. I was told that it was your spirits that were going to come through at that point. It's like amazing.
Well, I hear Lucy of an evening when I'm here on my own. I actually hear her walk through the kitchen and hear her meow.
Did she used to sit at the top of the stairs as well?
Yeah, in our previous house she did.
Yeah. I just got the top of the stairs. If she wouldn't choose a bed, she'd choose like the pile of washing or something like that to sit on.
Yeah, she'd hide in the wash basket.
There you go.
Right. You
There
ready?
he goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where am I going? That one? That one? That one.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I can't see anything.
There's a man upside down straight away in that with a suit jacket on, right? V in the jacket. Bald head. Now changing to the right way round. Oh. Got moustache, keeps turning his head.
So these
Like
are
upside down. His head's at 6 o'clock and his waist is at like 12 o'clock.
right.
It's just, whoa. Did one of you just move your hands?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I was just going to say, otherwise I just saw a hand come down to touch him.
Yeah, no,
Well, at least that was debunked.
yeah. These are only glass.
So that's only glass as well. But
Yeah.
it just shows glass works. So there's no reason in a mirror or glass window why spirit can't show themselves in those as well, which is where I've had great results with the camera. It's purely from glass windows.
Yeah.
Fascinated who the man is, though, that keeps showing himself by your finger.
Okay.
You're getting boo.
Who?
Boo.
Oh, the
Spirit of boo.
he's back there. Oh, yeah.
You have got an item that's got something that you call boo, haven't you?
Yes, yes, we have, yeah.
Because I'm just being told the man's the spirit of boo.
Oh, really? Yeah, because Boo has a spirit attachment.
Okay. And is he behind you, you say, behind the ball?
Yeah.
Okay. That's making sense then. And other people can see that as well.
Yeah, I'll show, in case anybody...
Just under my shoulder.
That's fantastic.
That's Boo. He comes to all our events. There we go. But he does have a spirit attachment.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay. And I've got a bigger one. It's a bit bigger, this one.
It hasn't happened yet, viewers. But I'm being told if you look from the left-hand side of the ball, it's like someone's going to walk in, and they are now. There's a shadow walking in. It's a man with a tie. Okay, he's got a beard like stubble, but he's got a bald head.
Sounds like
On the left-hand side of the ball, his head's at 9 o'clock. His body's at 7 o'clock. Waist. And now he's tilted his head down. Okay. Now he's tilted his head back and come out of the frame. I'm being told he's going to replace with a woman, so he's linked to a woman as well that he's with.
Oh, right.
I can see a monk in the middle with one of those toga bits over the shoulder now in the middle of the ball with the head, you know, with the red wraparound material.
Yeah.
I can see that slap bang in the middle of the ball, like a monk.
So we could probably take the bald-headed man in the suit and case and all that.
The stubble.
Don't know about the stubble though.
Like a bit, but he didn't have any hair on top. It was just like stubble around his face. If it wasn't stubble, it had been a darker complexion where the shaving would have been on his face.
Right.
He's coming back as you've said that. Now he's facing us.
Okay. So the arm start like
yeah. Now you know how my hand felt. That is fascinating to be able to do that online to show people scrying that people have never experienced or even believed that they could do scrying are also seeing, but we're all seeing the same thing. So to be able to see the same thing is also showing the multitude of people that can actually scry and don't believe it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We've actually done scrying with, you can do it with flames as well from a candle and things like that. You could do it on a paranormal event, but it's not something I've done regularly on a paranormal event with a crystal ball. But it is possible to do. Okay. He was a very determined man, Grace, to come through. But I do think the link, if I'm correct here, and Mark can tell me, the link of the man with the bald head and the suit, or the tie and the suit, would have been your side, not Lynda's side.
Oh, right. Okay.
Does that make sense? With the stubble. But he got very much a thin chin.
No.
And if I was putting money on it, what I'm being told would have been a grandfather, not a parent, but with a very lot of love for you, like a fatherly love for you.
Oh, God, my grandparents. Sorry.
It's like a lot of love, as if you may as well, if we're very, very close.
Oh.
You weren't close to dinner.
I weren't close to my grandparents.
No, then it was not. It's someone you were very, very close to. They've got like a fatherly love for you.
Okay.
55 is the age I've got, but
Right.
around 55.
Think of anyone.
Right, and I got Mark. Last thing that I'd missed on the questions. You do a ghost pod normally. You do them weekly, don't you? So tell us, what is your ghost pod, and how do people follow your ghost pod?
Well, I haven't done one for the last couple of weeks because unfortunately I had a tooth abscess and my mouth was so swollen you could have set a small table on there and started eating.
It was very quiet.
Lynda's hoping for the next one.
Yeah. What I do every week, I normally do it get it uploaded on a Monday. It goes to our main Facebook page. It goes to our YouTube channel, Fright Nights. If you just put in the Fright Nights Ghost Pod into YouTube, it'll come up with lots of lovely me. And basically, it's just a bit of information, really. I mean, it's been a bit spartan because of the lockdown, but I tend to go through just a few things that have happened and a few things that are coming up, events that are coming up, and any other things that people would like me to mention. You know, that some of us sometimes I get guests who ask me to mention such and such what happened to them at a certain place, and sometimes we get venues who actually say to me, "Mark, could you mention our venue for us?" and things like that. So it's a little bit of advertising, if you like, but it was also it's just me with my computer talking to whoever's listening. And I'm currently hitting about 1,000 views a week, which is quite nice. And thank you all for those who do watch. It's very much appreciated. It's nice to know that somebody's listening. And,
I get hourly updates as to how many have watched it.
Doesn't really.
So Lynda watches the insights to see how well you've done then, Mark.
Yeah. Well, the first week.
What does he get when he hits 2,000 a week?
Sorry?
And what do you receive when you reach 2,000 a week?
What do I receive?
So what's Lynda going to offer you for 2,000 views a week?
God knows.
Remains to be seen.
I've got to get there first. It'll be worth it, I'll tell you now.
And if anyone wanted to join VIP or anything like that, so they were more of a regular, how would they go about joining VIP?
There's a link on the website.
Which website is the facebook.com Fright Nights Ghost Hunts?
It's www.frightnights.co.uk.
Okay, I'll post that up. So www.
VIP membership, and if you just click through the links from there, failing that, just phone me up or send an email.
Or you can
www.frightnights.co.uk.
Yeah.
Okay, let me enter. So I'm just posting that. If anyone wants to have a look there, okay, follow their website, follow their Facebook page, which is along the bottom. Okay, and in my opinion, if anyone wanted and had not done a paranormal investigation before, use Fright Nights. Go to Mark and Lynda. Their events are fantastic. It's like a small family that turn up on the events, whether you know each other or not at the start. It's like a family. They always make you feel warmly welcome and accepted. There's always a medium on your events as well. Back up for the sensitives, and they'll always help the sensitives out. They have equipment that you can use, which is unlike other companies. They are wonderful. Okay. And likewise, Charlie and Tanya that I interviewed last week, they work closely with Mark and Lynda as well. They're good friends. Okay. You call them good friends, Mark?
Now branching out into West Midlands for us.
They are, which I know they'd mentioned online the other day. I know we've had a few questions. Will you go to Scotland, which Grace had asked? And if Grace was to come up with enough events up there, you'd probably do a weekend up there, wouldn't you? Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. If you can come up, Grace, if you can come up with 3 venues for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday near you, I'm sure that's something that we can look into.
Absolutely.
Likewise, if anyone's near anywhere that you know is a haunted location, either let myself or Mark and Lynda know, and they'll always look into it as being a possible venue.
Yeah.
We don't know about all the venues that are out there. Some pubs and things like that we just don't ever get to hear of, but we need people like yourselves to let us know that these venues are out there or that these locations are haunted, and then it's possible to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll always look into it. We'll always give it a go. Oh, yes.
Was there anything else you wanted to add, Mark and Lynda?
Well, first of all, obviously, thanks very much for having us. And anybody who's survived this far without falling asleep, well done. It's been great. It really has. I actually enjoyed it.
You did mention the Haunted Paranormal Antiques Centre.
Yes, the Haunted Antique Paranormal Research Centre. I'm also interviewing Neil from there in the next coming weeks.
We've actually got 2 events booked in now for that location coming up. That's a new location for Fright Nights this year.
And the Haunted Antique Paranormal Research Centre is nothing to be missed. That is building that is haunted, and probably underestimating here 100 haunted items.
Yeah.
And I'm probably underestimating. Probably more in the region of 250-ish items that have a spirit to do with them. Okay, so that is one place not to be missed.
Right.
If anyone hasn't done an event before, that would be there's no way a skeptic could turn up there and leave without some sort of witnessing some sort of activity. So those of you that got husbands that don't believe and you're wanting to go on an event, send them to the Haunted Paranormal Research Centre through Fright Nights, and it'll happen.
I mean,
Okay?
yeah, sorry.
Go on, I'll finish there. Go on, Mark.
Yeah. One last thing. All I was going to say is, whenever we run our events, there are two things I always aim for our guests. One of them is I want everybody to witness something paranormal, whether you see it, smell it, or touch it. Something, anything to say, so you can walk away and say, yeah, I witnessed something I can't explain. And the other thing I always want is for everybody to have a good time as well, so at the end of the evening, I mean, unfortunately we can't how can I put it? I can't bribe the spirits to do some knocking
we
for us.
talked about that, giving them a fire.
I always try and bribe spirits, but
if they don't want to do stuff, they won't.
that's true.
But so the other thing is, I just want everybody to enjoy themselves when they're on our events. Just have a good time. What the heck? It's Friday night. You've had a shit week at work. What the heck? Enjoy it.
And lastly, on our Facebook page, you will see an offer for Fright Nights gift vouchers. At the moment, while this horrible virus thing is doing the rounds, we're doing buy £50, get £25 free.
Yeah.
So
buy £50, get £20 free.
Yeah,
25. Right. 25 free. Yeah.
25 free. That's even better than I said then. Buy £50, get 25 free.
So if they want to just buy the vouchers for now, and then they can decide what they want to do when the lockdown is lifted, that's absolutely fine.
And likewise with the viewers, the events that I do and work with Fright Nights, I always list on my page. So then you can go through to Fright Nights and book directly, and you know that those events that I will be on, I always list the events that I'll be on. And you're more than welcome then to go to Fright Nights. And like I said, hand on heart, if there was a company, I wouldn't be working with them unless it was someone that I could solely vouch for. Fright Nights are amazing. Okay, they do make everyone feel fully welcome, to get everyone interacting. It's not all just the team. Sometimes you can go on to paranormal events. It's the team that wanting to do everything themselves. The hosts literally step back to let you do everything yourselves. Okay, they are wonderful the way they have it structured, and it's amazing. They're both wonderful people, and they make everyone feel welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a good interview.
Yes.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, you two.
You've got the job. When can you start?
Okay.
We will see you soon.
In person.
Yep, hopefully they will all see you soon in person. And hello, Storm. Just you to try and get involved.
Hello. You finished it, Deb. Right.
Anyone that's interested, as I've said, when I've said goodbye to Mark and Lynda, what I am going to do is, for anyone who's interested, is a very brief spirit box session and see whether we can get your loved ones through. So anyone that wants to, just hang on with us, and I'm going to see whether I can bring loved ones through on Spirit Box. You're more than welcome. If you'd have wanted Mark and Lynda, either stay online and experience that, or watch from the comfort of your own home.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll probably when this is finished, I'll share it onto the main Fright Nights page, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, of course you can, Mark.
Yeah, okay.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to go and just watch it from the comfort of your home, then thank you very much for joining me. And I'll catch up with the both of you tomorrow anyway. I'm going to continue for a little bit longer and just see whether I can, half hour, 40 minutes, bring through some loved ones on Spirit Box for all of you.
Well, good luck. And thanks again, everyone, for messages.
Thanks for lasting.
Brilliant. Okay.
No, they're very good viewers. There's no negative people on here whatsoever. They're really, really good viewers. I'm really fortunate to have the viewers that I have. I'm always privileged with them, the way they join in.
Nice little
community.
community.
I can't wait to see your hat, Mark.
You have to have a chat with
you're gonna have to come on the light. You're gonna have to come on their events to see his hat.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's got a picture of
It
it.
does
so-
have a pink cap here as well.
Yeah, I'm not wearing that though. It'll ruin my
What?
hair.
Pink hat?
My hair will lose its shape.
We will. All I can do for Mark and Lynda, anything that I can do and advertise any of their events, I will list them on my page as well. So just keep your eyes out, but please do follow their page. Even if you want to then narrow it down to an area, do so. Go to their Facebook and just search Fright Nights. Okay, Fright Nights Ghost Hunts. Bring up the main page. Watch it from there and join any areas that you want to.
Yes.
Thank you very much, the two of you, for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
I've loved having you on.
you'll get a whole list of all the different areas there as well. So it's up to them if they want to choose a particular area or just stay with the main page.
Honestly, is worth traveling around different areas if you can. You can experience so much more, and there's a lot of good locations. I wouldn't have said there was one in particular. No matter what events Fright Nights do, everyone that I've been on, there has been activity.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Mark and Lynda said, we can't guarantee that, but every single event that I've done with them, there has been tremendous amount of activity. Can come and go, but there's never once that I've been let down.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
was brilliant.
So I can pretty much tell you they won't let you down.
Never.
Thank you very much then, Gavin.
You're welcome, and take care, and I'll give you a call tomorrow and catch up.
Yeah, okay,
hope
mate.
to see you soon.
Good luck for the rest
All
of the
right,
week. Thanks again.
All
take
right.
care. You're being told you're lush people.
All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Take care, you two.
All right.
Take care. Bye bye. Right. Rest of you, I'm going to have a very quick bathroom break, and I'll come back and do a very little bit of spirit communication on the spirit box. I'm just going to grab the speaker. Okay, so anyone that wants to stay with me, just stay there, and I will be over with you shortly. Okay, just give me a second. Right. Hopefully, I'm not waking up now. Okay, I know Mark and Lynda. Mark is fascinating. Okay, they're really good people, and their events, Fright Nights, are wonderful. I meant that from the bottom of my heart as I said that about them. Give me 1 second, just to go to the bathroom, grab the spirit box, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay. There's the speaker. Right. come on to. Hi, thanks for those of you who stayed with me. It is worth mentioning very briefly, okay, this kind of thing that I'm about to do on the spirit box, it doesn't happen at paranormal investigations. It's not intended to. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't know it was fully possible until I started doing this during lockdown on the lives. Okay, it just happens to be that spirit worked with me, and it works. Okay? I've tried to do a lot of different things that prove the spirit are about, and prove that it works. Okay? So paranormal events, when it comes, you go on one of those, it's very much different to like what I'm about to do now on the spirit box. Okay, purely focuses on the spirits of that location. Likewise, if I'm working as a medium on a location, I'm tuned into a completely different energy, more of an earth energy, and the spirits around that property than trying to read for everyone. It's not like I can just come up with messages for people. Occasionally, I get people that turn up and go, "Is there anything from me?" It's like it doesn't happen like that on paranormal investigations. Occasionally, it might come that I'm really there's a need for a message to come across. If that ever happened, I can only think of twice out of many investigations that's happened. I drag someone to one side and say, "Look, I'll pass the message on," and then if they say yes, I will pass it on. Okay? Breaking up. Right. Give me 1 second then. Give me 1 second then, please. Give me 1 minute. Those that can hear me, give me 1 minute, okay? It shouldn't be a problem from what I'm seeing, but just give me a second. I've been going a couple of hours. Let me just try and remove temporary files. Is Spirit getting excited because they know what I'm going to do next? Give me 1 second. Come on. Okay. I know what that's helped. Can you hear me again? Please tell me if that's clearer. Is that clearer, everyone? Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me try and move these. All right. Oh, give me a minute, please. It's a bit clearer. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do very, very quickly. Let me go off and I'll come straight back online. Give me 2 minutes, okay?